Hi, welcome to Just Common Sense. My name's Brian Harrison, and hi guys, how are you guys doing? Did you enjoy your 4th of July? We talked about Independence Day the other day. We definitely need to know our history on Independence Day, what it's about, and I already went over that on one of my shows, and half of you guys didn't know it. So that surprises me. Actually, it doesn't surprise me. Most of the people that didn't know it were in their mid-20s, 30s. It's pretty bad. Pretty bad. The schools are not teaching history. They're not teaching the right thing. But they're talking about this race theory and all this stuff. Guys, stop doing that. Stop doing that. You're dividing the country. It's crazy. So anyway, I've got Jerry Dangler on the other line right now. We're going to be talking about quite a few things tonight. Jerry, how are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic, Brian. I woke up this morning.
Yeah, I woke up and I saw the news, and I was very disappointed in everything I saw in the news this morning. I mean, we saw things from Maxine Waters the other day, which we'll be talking about. Saw things on COVID. We're going to be talking about that. Saw Biden. I saw Biden mess up a couple speeches and things. He didn't get certain things right. And
No way.
I'm surprised. Are you shocked?
I am.
Oh.
This is my shock face.
I didn't see it because you're not on camera. Sorry, you're not in the studio today. You're on phone here, by the way. So, but we'll have you in the studio soon. Oh gosh, yeah. And I went to I just throw this all out of loop. I went to a restaurant tonight, and it was pretty packed. The restaurant that was good. However, there were only 3 people working in the restaurant because they're short of staff. We've talked about this. And again, one person's up there complaining. I was sitting at my table, and the server was taking my order, and this lady, she comes up to complain while this guy's taking my order at the table. I could not believe that. I said, how rude is she? I actually went to the manager because she went to the manager about this server. I went to the manager and said, hey, this server was fantastic. Everything was great. I knew you guys are short of staff. People are just not being patient out there. And I'll be honest, I got a feeling she was on the left, just to give you a heads up. And guess what? She's going to be the one complaining about when they want to give out all the free money. So,
what's her name, Karen?
Exactly. So anyway, we're going to talk about a lot of things. First of all, we got to talk about, and I'm going to call Maxine Waters. You are racist. You are starting trouble. You start riots. You talk about how bad Trump is. Maybe you need to look in the mirror. You should not be sitting in that chair in the house up there. It is a disgrace that you're even sitting in that chair. I am actually saying you're a disgrace to this country. It's a disgrace what you're doing out there. All people are created equal. Black, white, Chinese, Asian, whatever. We're all equal. The people of this whole world are equal. And I'm telling you what, Maxine Waters, you are causing problems. When it comes to Biden and all this race theory, that's another problem right there. Guess what? All they want from you guys is just more votes. That's all they want. They're stirring up all kinds of problems, and that's all they're after. They're just after the votes. Come on, guys. Don't be that stupid. You could see right through this, and a lot of people can. This is absolutely crazy. I showed some of my friends who are, well, I hate to use the word black. You know I do that. I hate that word. But some of my friends will say, and they saw it, and they said, they looked at what she said, and they were like, she's crazy. Absolutely crazy. And these were people that are very intelligent, know what's going on out there. So, again, that's the whole thing with Black Lives Matter. I've talked about it. I am not for the whole Black Lives Matter movement. I don't mind if they're out there protesting peacefully, but we're all created equal. And again, I remember being working one time. I had a customer. I'm not going to get into my business and all, but I had a customer years and years ago. Walks up to me, and again, she was black. I don't like using that, but she's black, and she says to me, she goes, I don't want to talk with you. I want to talk to one of my brothers. And they don't know where that went, guys. And I'm telling you, that right there is racist because in God's eyes, we're all equal. Nobody's a different color. Look, I've said it before. If I were black, I'd be as black as my phone here. If I were white, I'd look like a piece of paper. That's scary. It's about education, guys. That's exactly what this is about. And Maxine Waters, you are not educated at all. You have just got a lot of anger issues, very, very bad anger issues. And when I see things like that, it definitely fires me up and fires a lot of people up. And one more thing I'm going to say, Jerry, while you're out there, because I know you're going to talk about Maxine Waters in a minute. Look, I heard Jim Jordan speak today on something about they're trying to take away statues too. Look, they've been tearing them down, everything else. Now the Statue of Liberty is a problem? Give me a break. Guys, I'm going to tell you, there is a limit. And I'm going to say it. Go after the Statue of Liberty, try to take that down, and you're going to wake up the lions in this country real quick. And then there's enough where we're all going to say, enough's enough. So stop. Back off, and let's all work on these things together. That's what we need to do. It's getting absolutely ridiculous, and I'm seeing the left get more and more radical. They're the problem. They're the racist, and that's exactly what they are. Not all. I'm going to say that because I got some friends from the left who aren't. I'm saying the radical, like Maxine Waters. Joe Biden, I'm going to say it. He's out there using all this stuff trying to be racist. I'm telling you. It really is bad, and you're seeing it with everybody in left up, especially in D.C. Maxine Waters, Nancy Pelosi. I almost got them mixed up, see? So Chuck Schumer, another one.
Well, they're both useless.
Oh, they are. They're just useless. All they're doing is stirring up trouble, and they just want to stir up this trouble right now, and basically they're doing it to get more votes. They want to win 2022. That's all they're after. They're going to lose. They're actually hurting themselves by doing this. They think they're doing a great job. They're hurting themselves. Do you know I actually, when what's the name was talking? I can't remember her name, the redheaded one. What's her name? Do you remember?
Jen.
Yes, I couldn't get it. But anyway, she was speaking today, and I actually was on Facebook, and I kept going back and forth. She was talking about the vaccine. That's all they're trying to do is get credit for this vaccine. Look, let's talk about how many people died this weekend in shootings in Chicago and other Democratic-run cities. Over 100 people were shot over the weekend on the 4th of July weekend. I just read about it. And you know what? I kept asking, what are you going to do about this? What are you going to do about this? Not one word was mentioned from the media on that side, the radical media, I call them this, like Cartoon News Network. Look, nobody mentioned anything out there on that stuff when people die. But they were talking about vaccine that we know Trump was involved in at first. Like I said, give credit where credit is due. Anyway, let's talk about Maxine Waters, how crazy she is. Jerry, do you want to go ahead and, because there was something on Twitter she posted. Guys, go to her website on Twitter. Check this out. Actually, go out there and look at it. Because first thing you're going to say is oh, he's making this up. No. Do your research. Check her personal Twitter page out and find out. It's out there. So what's your thought about this?
As a matter of fact, you know what, Brian? Let me do this. Just so they can, anybody who doubts that Maxine Waters said this, what I'll do is I'll just go ahead and read it verbatim. And so that way it's not your opinion, not my opinion. It's just what she said. So, and then I'll tell you when I'm done reading it, and then that way, people don't think that I'm adding anything to it. So,
okay.
Here's what she put on her Twitter feed. July 4th. And so, the Declaration of Independence says all men are created equal. Equal to what? What men? Only white men? Isn't it something that they wrote this in 1776 when African Americans were enslaved? They weren't thinking about us then, but we're thinking about us now. And that's the end of her Twitter tweet.
Yeah.
And how ridiculous is that? I mean, personally, I carry a copy of the Constitution and Declaration of Independence with me almost everywhere I go. And I know that you know that because you've seen me whip one out and just hand it to somebody and just give them one, and then I'll just replace it with one I have at home. Yeah. But there's not one place in there where it says that all white men are created equal or all black men. It says all men are created equal. And when they say men, they mean mankind.
Correct.
Which includes women.
That's correct.
I mean, now, were the laws different back then? Were women treated equally? No, they weren't. I mean, I'll give you that.
Yeah,
were black people treated equally back then? No, they weren't. But the governing documents of our country And the celebration of the 4th of July has nothing to do with any one race being superior to another race, better than another race, or anything else, above another race. The 4th of July is the celebration of the independence of our country, which, by the way, was one of the countries that helped end slavery out of Africa, to most of the civilized world.
Correct. And then if you want to get into slavery, who sold the slaves? Who sold the slaves?
It's interesting that you asked that, because that's something I've looked into a little bit over the years.
Yeah.
Because I was just curious. Because I was like, wow, if I am complicit or guilty in some way. But basically, the slave trade happened in a couple of different ways. And one of the ways was there would be different warring factions, and when one village or one tribal nation would defeat another, they would take the people that didn't die in the war as slaves.
That's
and the ones that they couldn't afford to feed and they couldn't afford to keep, then they would sell off to the slave traders, who were typically the slave markets were typically run by Muslims in places like Morocco and places like that, in Liberia. So then what would happen? So what you would have black people selling other black people to the Muslim slave traders.
Correct.
And then the Muslim slave traders would then sell them to the rest of the civilized world, which, at that time, a lot of the civilized world were either Hispanic or white. It's like when you had the French and the English and the Americans were the white. And then, Spain, Portugal, South America, and the Caribbean was a lot of mixture of Spanish and French. But, basically, so, just to encapsulate that again, black people would sell other black people to the Muslim slave traders. Muslim slave traders sold them to the rest of the world.
That's right. And that's why I went there with that, because, guys, you need to study your history, because this is very important. All you guys do is think of the TV shows, Roots and all that. Yes, there was actual fact on some of the stories that happened back then. Yes, there was people that beat people and stuff. We know that. And then there was slave owners that treated people good. But again, it was wrong. 100% wrong. You don't own people. You can't own people at all. Slavery's been around. We go back to Egypt. Why aren't the Egyptians having issues with this, Why is it just the black community? Look, guys, seriously, let's talk about this. First of all...
But, what Maxine Waters said, though, Brian, you got to address that. Trying to claim that our Independence Day is a racist holiday, where is she trying to go with this?
She's just trying to start up trouble. That's exactly what she does. That's all she does. She just feeds the fuel or throws fuel into the fire. That's all she wants to do. She's nothing. She shouldn't be in that chair. Why isn't, and then my question is, why isn't Nancy Pelosi, all those guys going after her saying, whoa, you need to hold back and not do this, because they don't care. Well, when Trump does something not even nearly as bad, and no, the Capitol wasn't from Trump, guys, before you left out there start talking, oh, yes, it was. He said, peacefully protest. Go check out the video. Check it out. It's out there.
Well, it's funny, too, Brian. When she brings up about, are we saying that only white men are created equal? If you remember, there, were a few precedents set, in our legal system over the years in America. And, one of those precedents was the Jim Crow laws, where basically black people were not counted as full human beings.
Right.
Well, that was a law that was put in place by Democrats.
Yeah.
So, I look at this and I say, well, wait a minute. So Democrats are accusing all the conservatives and Republicans of being racist. And they talk about this is the new Jim Crow, or that's the new Jim Crow. Well, Jim Crow is a Democrat construct. And then if you look at the Dred Scott case, was done by Democrats. The founder of the Democrat Party, Andrew Jackson, was a slave owner.
Yes.
And so, the slavery issue, although the Democrat Party didn't exist when slavery started, the Democrat Party was neck deep in slavery and oppression, and frankly, they still are in today's world by, putting out, the projects and, these communities where they tell, black people, oh, well, you need to go live here because it's free. And then when they get in there, they have no drive, because it's like, oh, I don't have to pay my bills. I don't have to do this. And so it's the new plantation. It's the new slavery, and it's run by Democrats. Every single major area like that is run by Democrats. They have Democrat mayors and, most of them, Democrat governors.
Yeah. No, absolutely. It's absolutely crazy. And I mean, where I was going to go with this too, I know it's just a whole point of, like I said, slavery was wrong. We all know it goes back to the Egyptians. It goes back to the blacks, everything else. Guys, what I'm saying is this. First of all, for all the black people out there, and I hate using that word, I'm just going to use it for now. Guys, seriously. First of all, go check out where you came from and check your family history. Again, check your family history, because I guarantee a lot of you weren't in the United States. Your families weren't, and they got here later in life. So why are we even discussing this? Because this was well over 100 years ago. Yeah. So it just goes on and on. And I mean, first of all, my family wasn't even here. Why do I get blamed for things like this, or white people are getting blamed for stuff like this when they weren't even here? They were in another country. This is how far this is going. This is totally stupid. And Biden and Maxine Waters and all you guys out there, why don't you learn your history? Because first of all, I guarantee most of you weren't even here. Most of your families came from somewhere else. You came here later in life. And that's the whole thing.
The only part of my family that was here was American Indian.
Yeah.
On my mom's side, I'm Blackfoot and Cherokee.
Yeah.
So, when you look at that, it's like, we actually have a little bit of a beef with the government as well. But I don't run around claiming myself as a victim. What I did is I went out and I did stuff for myself in life, and I made things happen for myself in life, and I didn't play the victim.
Correct. And that's what they're trying to do. Not all of them, but a lot of them are trying to get free money and stuff like that, because there's been talk, we're going to go ahead and pay for, past slavery problems in the past and stuff. But again, it is not my fault. I wasn't there. My family wasn't there. This goes back way, way back. And again, I mean, why aren't the Egyptians complaining? And like you just said, let's really talk about the people. Let's talk about the Native Americans in this country. The ones, let's go back. We took their land. Yes. Or, should say not me, because I wasn't here. But we had people come over, take their land. They're the ones that aren't really complaining that much. Let's really get into that. Why? Why are they complaining?
It's funny that you say that. You just made me think of something, Brian. One of the things that you were talking about earlier is how Maxine Waters likes to stir the pot.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's not just her. It's most of your high-profile Democrats.
Correct.
Like to stir the pot. And when I lived in San Diego, the local college, San Diego State, they had the largest sports programs of the schools in the area. They were the Aztecs. And a lot of people on the left, Democrats, started trying to change the name of the mascot because they said it was exploiting the Aztec people. So I asked somebody one time, I said, well, have you actually spoken to an Aztec? And they said, well, no, that society went away hundreds of years ago. Yeah. And I said, okay, so if that society went away hundreds of years ago, how are we exploiting anybody? And they couldn't answer. All they're trying to do is just stir the pot, create division, and villainize, anybody that is not, 100% in lockstep with their ideology.
Yeah. We're talking this maybe well over 100 years, 150, 100, whatever. This goes way, way back when all this stuff was going on. And when it comes to, blacks and slavery and all, and it's just gotten crazy. And then, like you said, they're trying to change the name of football teams and all this stuff. And it's not really the Native Americans. I've talked to them. They're like, who cares? They don't care. They really don't.
Most Native Americans don't care. They're like, they look at it and go, wow, you know what? You want to call yourself, you want a winning team to have our tribal name on it? That's pretty cool.
Yes. Everybody wants to get in this politically correct whole name, politically correct. Give me a break, guys. Quit trying to change everything. Look, we got to talk about this too. Statues are being pulled down and tore down. History is being taken down. I'm not for this. I think the statues should be up there. I'm not for everything they did. No. But we look at it and we remember, hey, these guys didn't do everything right. There were some bad people there and they did some things wrong, and their statues, sure, I get that. But you know what? They fought for what they believed in at the time, and not all of it was about slavery. It really wasn't. It's not that the Civil War wasn't all about slavery. Trust me. And then we would get into this.
Mostly not about it.
No, it's not. And then
it was economics.
Yes, and then we also talk about Floyd. Let's talk about Floyd. Somebody defaced his statue up there, right? They put a statue of Floyd. All right, let's go into Floyd. First of all, congratulations. Oh, yeah, I want to give you guys, by the way, I want to give the Democrat a hand. Here, hold on. You know what? This is why we're giving you a hand. You know what? Because you're stupid. First of all, the radical, not all the left, I'm just saying that, but the radical, like Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, Biden, Harris, Cortez. I can go through many of them. All of them basically up there. It's absolutely crazy. And yes, we're all starting to get very angry about this, and it's because they're dividing the country. They're the ones doing this, not us, them. And that's the problem. So,
well, Brian, I just want to throw something out there. A few minutes ago, you were saying, hey, this isn't all Democrats, and some Democrats that don't feel that way, and I agree. I know some Democrats that don't feel that way.
Of course, moderate.
But you know what? Here's the thing.
Yeah, I know where you're going.
One of the things that people need to understand is that even though they might not feel that way, even though they might not believe in some of the things that other Democrats are doing,
where you're going.
If you're still voting Democrat, then you're supporting it, so you're just as bad. Actually, you're worse.
Absolutely.
Because you're running around telling people, well, I don't believe in that, but then secretly you go in and you pull the lever or push the button or punch the card to support the people that do create the division and the racism. So,
correct.
I agree with you. I do know some Democrats that are not radical and they're actually pretty smart people and they're not racist. However, if you support racists, then you're just as bad or worse than the racists because you support them.
Yeah, and let's talk about Jose. Let's talk about Jose the other night. He was a strong Democrat at one time, and then he changed. He's smart. He got more intelligent on what's going on out there with the Democratic Party, and they've lost it. And this is basically what's going on right now. Like you said, leave the Democratic Party. Leave the party. Go independent. Do something different if you don't want to join the Republican Party, but leave that party and get out of it. That's what I'm going to say. It's just absolutely crazy. Why stay in something if you're not happy with what they're doing? Just leave.
I'll make a recommendation to you on a great person to read one of her books. There's an author out there, and now she has started to become active in politics in the past, I'd say decade or so. Her name's Carol Swain. And Carol Swain grew up dirt poor in the South. Literally, her grandparents helped raise her. Didn't even have indoor plumbing, had an outhouse. And, voted Democrat, most of her young adult life. And then all of a sudden she started, instead of just listening to what people told her about what she should do in the voting booth, she started investigating. Once she started investigating, she was totally shocked at how wrong she was. And now she's a staunch conservative and a staunch Republican. Mm-hmm. And talk about living in the lion's den.
Yeah.
She is a college professor. She's retired now, but she was a college professor at Vanderbilt University, which is extremely liberal.
Yeah.
And, but if she has a book out there called Be the People that kind of tells her life story. And a very great book and very interesting read. I highly recommend it. But she was, for lack of a better term, she was Candace Owen long before Candace Owen was.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, and that'll be a good book definitely to read. I haven't read it myself yet, but I'd love to get into reading that book. Now, the one thing I was going into this, and we got off track a little with Floyd. First of all, guys, I was trying to explain this for all these guys up there. Look at Floyd's history. Why would you put a statue? Why would you put a statue of a criminal? He's a known criminal. He's done a lot of bad things. Yes, I'm not saying what happened was right. No beans at all. But, however, two wrongs don't make a right, whatever the case, I don't know. But what he did was wrong. He's done lots of crime, many years, and now we put a statue of somebody. And then yet the left is pulling statues down of people, and not all of them were good, but they're pulling statues down of people that made history and that were good. and not all of them are good. So left, if the people on the left, if you truly believe that pulling statues down of bad people, then take Floyd down. There's no reason to have a statue up there of him. What happened may have been wrong.
I would put Thomas Jefferson up against George Floyd any day of the week.
Yeah, that's true.
Character, personality. The left wants to take the statue of Thomas Jefferson out of the Jefferson Memorial in Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
They want to change all the names of the buildings on the University of Virginia out there, near where Thomas Jefferson's house, Monticello, is.
Right.
It's like, so here's a guy that was one of the greatest founding fathers and helped write a lot of our founding documents and helped write a lot of our laws.
Yeah.
And was he a slave owner? Yes, he was. But back then, you know what? Some people were, some people weren't.
Yeah.
But that doesn't, but if you read in his writings, he felt that slavery was a bad institution, and he was trying to find a way to work his way out of it without bankrupting his estate.
Yeah.
But, so here we have George Floyd and Thomas Jefferson, so they want to tear down statues of Jefferson and build statues of George Floyd. I'm sorry, I just can't see that.
Hey, I'm going to talk about Jim Jordan because everybody knows how much I like Jim Jordan. You know one thing he said today? Defund critical race theory. You want to defund the police. Oh, by the way, the left is now trying to say the Republicans are trying to defund the police. They are so wacko, they're losing it. They are absolutely, they've lost it a long time ago. There's not even losing it. They've lost it. Absolutely crazy.
I'm just glad I wasn't drinking anything the first time I heard Jen Psaki say that. I would have spit it out my nose. I would have been laughing so hard.
Oh, I know.
Anybody, I'm going to throw this out there, and I know you don't like to call names and everything like
Go
that.
ahead.
But anybody that actually believes that is a moron. And it's like, so I'm not going to say left, right, or anything like that. But anybody that believes the Republicans are the ones that want to defund the police is a moron. You have no idea what you're talking about. You have no idea what's going on in society or in the world today, and you need to educate yourself. You need to keep your mouth shut. There's an old saying out there: it's better to keep silent and be thought a fool than to open your mouth and remove all doubt.
Correct. And I'm going to tell you who supports the Republicans more, the police. Absolutely. I talked to plenty of them, and so does the military, and so do the firefighters, first responders. Obviously, they all do. Now, there are a few out there that support the left, but the majority supports the Republicans.
Vast majority.
They're right. Yes. Look, like I said, I'll be honest. When we were out there, and I was, I was in the Trump train. I went into that. It was fun. Had a blast. Had some crazy people coming up to us shooting us birds. You were there with me when the kid came up, dropped his pants, and there were kids right there, little kids with us. Yeah. And this guy comes up, drops his pants in front of the little kids, and then shooting everybody birds and all. And you know what? There were police officers with us, and they were talking to us, and they were actually enjoying our conversation. And of course, the police officer goes, "I'll be back." He walks over there to arrest the guy, and the guy took off. However, he did get his tag, so good luck with that. I hope you're going to jail for that, or went to jail, I should say. Now, that's the case. Now, also, look, when Trump flew in last year, I was out there when he flew in over the airport. There were over 200 people just where I was alone with Trump flags, and there were firefighters, 2 fire trucks, 2. And they were standing on those trucks, waving and cheering. Also, police were out there. They were waving and cheering and honking horns. That's exactly what was going on. Biden flew over, nothing. Somebody said they saw 1 or 2 people. I saw nothing. Nothing. Nobody supports this. This is definitely the difference between what's going on now and what was going on in the past. So, I don't know. These are people that are not very educated at all that are doing this. Now, again, I'm not attacking all the left because, again, like Jerry said, though, switch and definitely go into another party. I don't care what party, but do something there. But this has gotten to be crazy. So, anyway, enough with that. You have any more things to say about that, Jerry, before we end that part?
No, I think we pretty much covered it. We'd be beating a dead horse if we kept going.
Yeah.
But I just, it's just to kind of touch base with, what we were talking about. It's basically what's happening is the left is stirring the pot right now with Maxine Waters leading the charge. And
one of
they're
them.
they're trying to flip things around. Well, yeah, she's one of the people leading the charge, but they're trying to flip things around and create division, because the more they create division, then the more that they can create the need for them to be in charge,
Right.
and they can grab even more power. So this is, the long term thing is just kind of a power grab. They go out, they tell people, oh gosh, look at all the problems in America. Well, yeah, look at all the problems, and most of them you created.
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely.
I'll just leave it at that.
Absolutely. And like I said, the sheep follow, and they don't have any common sense. This is what this show's about, common sense. And they don't have any common sense to do their own research. They go by hearsay, by what somebody tells them. And by the time one person tells another person, it's a whole different story. By the time it gets to person number 10, it's heard about it.
That game telephone.
Exactly.
When we were kids, you whisper something to one person, they whisper to the next. By the time it gets around the circle, it's a completely different story.
Yeah, that's true. All right, so let's talk a little about the COVID virus and what's going on with that. So I want to, I want to talk about that for a minute. I saw something the other day, but first of all, before that, I'm trying to get something up and running here. I want you guys to hear this little part here that's going to come up. Give me a second. Let's see if I can get this to play. I want you to hear this. All right.
Well, while you're pulling that up, you got it. Okay, good.
I'm good to go. So, guys, listen to this, then we're going to talk about this.
A special focus on 5 ways to make gains in getting those of you who are unvaccinated vaccinated. Because here's the deal. We are continuing to wind down the mass vaccination sites that did so much in the spring to rapidly vaccinate those eager to get their first shot, and their second shot for that matter, if they needed a second. Now we need to go to community by community, neighborhood by neighborhood, and oftentimes door to door, literally knocking on doors, to get help to the remaining people protected from the virus.
All right, that was Weak Joe Biden. Weak Joe. He's a nap time drinking his out of his sippy cup, as Hannity always says. Definitely, he's probably drinking his warm milk right now, getting ready for bed and all that. Probably going, what do I do tomorrow? What am I doing? Don't worry, Joe. We'll tell you what to do tomorrow.
We'll tell you.
We'll handle it for you. We're gonna handle everything for you. Just go to bed and you'll be fine. So anyway, the vaccine. Look, first of all, this is the U.S. You have the right to do the vaccine, not do the vaccine. It's up to you. And we've talked about masks. We did that the other day. Guys, you don't need to wear a mask outside. I'm seeing so many people doing that. The virus isn't going to jump through the air and come and attack you in a park when you're by yourself. Trust me. Unless it changes and if it gets that bad, then we'd all be in trouble. Trust me on that. It'd be a nightmare. Look, I've said it before. I do think the virus may have come out of a lab. There's all these things starting to show that. That's my theory. I'm not saying it was personally put out there. I think it was accidentally released. And why are we making these things in labs anyway? It's one thing if we're researching to fix a problem. But when you're using it as warfare, that's another problem. And China, let's talk about China. I like the people. That's fine. The government is the worst government on this planet, in my opinion, behind Russia and Iran. But China is now, they have the biggest navy, and they are working on nuclear weapons. I saw it yesterday. They are mass working on nuclear weapons. They want to rule the world is what they want to do. They want to rule the world. They want to shut down the U.S., they want to close us down any way possible. Russia's right there with them. They're right behind them trying to put things back together. Russia's starting to build their military and everything up too as well. I heard that. I saw it. I researched it. Absolutely. And what is Biden doing about it? What are you doing, Biden? Let's talk about your son, Hunter, what he does with it. But that's another story. Guys, I'm just saying, this is a real bad thing what's going on there. I got off subject for a minute. But anyway, let's talk about the COVID virus first. I'm putting my glasses on here because I can't see without them when it comes to things. So, saw somebody, individual, have put something out there the other day. Health insurance companies are considering refusing to insure the unvaccinated. Did I get that right? Refusing to uninsure. So if I don't get the vaccine, which I'm not going to, I've already talked to you guys about it, but so if somebody out there doesn't get the vaccine, then the insurance company refuses to give them insurance. That's illegal. That is totally illegal. Just like a job, privately owned companies, I guess they could do that. They might get sued. I know medical companies such as hospitals, doctors' offices, now they have things in their contracts that actually say that if you might have to get vaccinated and all this if something comes out. I get that. That's fine. Hospitals, elderly, I get all that. But this is a problem, and you can't think about insurance companies doing that. And then it talks about, I think employers should refuse employment to people that are unvaccinated, should also refuse to board any type of public transportation. Again, any type of public transportation. First of all, everybody was saying wear a mask. Now all of a sudden people are trying to say, we're going to take away your rights as a citizen of this country. Oh, and also, it's your right to not get vaccinated. It's not your right, or I'm sorry, it's not your right and to endanger others. Let's talk about that, guys. First of all, endangering others. Let's talk about what the left wants to do. First of all, we're talking the left likes to, they're all for abortion. My body, my life, let's talk about it. When there is a baby inside that body, let me tell you, that is a life. That is not endangering. That is murder. Murder when you do that, when you actually, especially something that's, 8, 9 months old, they're trying to do that. It's absolutely ridiculous. This is murder. Murder. And I'm saying it.
Hey, Brian, I got a quick question.
Yeah.
I wonder what this person would think.
You what?
The one that wrote that. The person that wrote what you just read.
Yeah.
I wonder what they would think if a company wanted to refuse employment to somebody because they had an abortion.
Yeah, I know. Absolutely crazy. It's absolutely crazy.
Well, I think you and I both know the answer to that.
Of course.
Everybody listens, but
Yeah, I know. And the Constitution of the United States, maybe you guys need to read that and learn what freedom is about. Now, again, I always say, respect the elderly. If you're sick, don't get around the elderly no matter what you have. Keep away from them. Again, yes, this is a bad virus. Nobody denies that. Nobody's denying it. But again, there's many viruses out there that are bad. Now I'm hearing there's the Delta. There's one I heard, I think it was called Lambda or something in Peru. I heard about that today too. They're saying that they're starting to see vaccines may or may not be working on that. So there's, this thing's just getting worse and worse. And part of it is political gain. A big chunk of this is political gain. And it's absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy.
Yeah,
it just
what
burns
that
me
person
up.
wrote about not allowing people to board public transportation, Brian, that's hearkening back to the days of the discriminatory policies of making black people ride in the back of the bus, or
That's correct.
making them drink from separate water fountains or anything like that. And I'll tell you something. Here's what's really funny.
Yeah.
When it comes to discrimination, okay, I actually had an opportunity about 2 years ago to meet one of the guys from the Woolworth lunch counter protest that was so famous in Greensboro, North Carolina. His name's Clarence Henderson, and he still lives out there. And he's a staunch Republican because he understands that that's the party that basically promotes freedom and promotes equality. But to say that somebody, because of their vaccination status, should not be employed, should not be able to participate in our country, should not be allowed to use public transportation, that's discrimination along the lines of racial discrimination.
Correct. And, I know people have been vaccinated. My family's been vaccinated. I know people that have not been vaccinated. But again, it is a private thing. And again, if they choose to wear a mask, that's up to them. If they choose to catch this virus, that's up to them. Sure, they're risking themselves if that's the case. But again, we could talk about the vaccine as well. They're hiding how many people have died from the vaccine. They are. There's already been some issues about it out there. People could die from the flu shot. I've said that. There's reactions you can have. I'm not saying don't get the vaccine at all. I am not saying that by any means.
Yeah, but it's not just people dying. I was watching an interview the other day with a lady whose daughter is now a paraplegic from the vaccine, and she will never walk again. And she's like 14 years old.
Yeah.
And, and she had to have the vaccine to go back to school. And now, guess what? Oh, she can go back to school, but she'll never walk again.
Yeah. And again, you know me, I'm not going to tell anybody not to get it or get it. That is up to you. It's your choice, your body, your life. And
agreed, but they need to know the risks.
Right. There are risks to anything. And I say that there's risk to that. Sure. There's risk to the flu shot. There's risk of taking Advil. I could take Advil or aspirin or whatever.
Absolutely.
And of course, and I'm not advertising anybody, by the way, here. Sorry for the company out there, but you're a good company, and yes, I take your product. There's a freebie ad for you. And it's good, and it worked. I took some today. I had a headache after reading the news. I saw what was Biden and all was talking about. I had to take like 4 of those things. But anyway, that's pretty much it. I mean, like I said, guys, seriously, I'm not saying the vaccine's bad for you. I'm saying it's your choice what you want to do with it. I'm saying be careful. Again, for most of you don't know it, the vaccine is emergency approved, but not FDA approved. Not completely. So that's another. Am I right on that, Jerry? Am I wrong?
You are correct on that. And you know what? And Brian, I'm with you. I'm not telling anybody to take it. I'm not telling them not to take it.
No.
But the person that wrote what you read is absolutely ridiculous in trying to relegate a social status to people based on whether they have been or have not been vaccinated, and it's un-American.
Yeah, I'm not for the what came out of this. And again, like I said, the vaccines work for. I'm not saying they don't work. I'm saying they do work for some things, but again, it's still not proven it's long term. We have to see. It does take time. COVID's been around for years. So, yes, I will say they've been working with vaccines for years for COVID. And it just, Trump pushes through warp speed. And again, that was a big plus. Biden's trying to take credit for all this. I understand. That's fine. That's his choice if he wants to do that. Most of us who are very intelligent know what really went on here. They know Trump started this with the help of the scientists and with the help of pharmaceutical companies. And again, thank you, Donald Trump or President Trump, for doing that. We really appreciate that. And again, Biden, quit trying to take credit. Just give the guy and say, hey, we acknowledge Trump worked with this. We're going to continue to work with this. And I don't have a problem with Biden sitting out there saying, please just get vaccinated. But coming to our house, coming to everybody's house, no, you're not going to do that. Sorry. There's people that have rights in this country, and this is not Russia. It is not China. It is not a communist country. You have rights and choices.
If my front door trying to vaccinate me, it'll be like the Clint Eastwood movie Gran Torino. They'll be standing on my lawn, and I'll be standing there saying, "Get off my lawn."
Well, we know I dress up like Freddy Krueger, even though they're not going to come to my door because there's no reason to now. But, but again, hey, I dress up like Freddy Krueger every Halloween, guys. So most of Halloween, so I look pretty scary. So yeah.
Actually, that would be hilarious to dress up like Freddy Krueger and tell them that the vaccine did that to you.
Really, Halloween, when it comes around, I actually might do that and dress up for the show and do this, and everybody's going to go, oh my God.
And by the way, for the people out there that have not seen Brian's Freddy Krueger outfit, it is spectacular. It's spot on. It is, if you had the actual actor and his makeup next to Brian, it would be hard to tell the difference.
Yeah, well, nobody's going to be Robert Englund. He's great. But again, I've done other characters too for Halloween. You'll see. I'm sure I have a lot of fun in Halloween, and kids love coming up to the house and everything else. And I'm very, very strong about Halloween, having fun. And then Christmas is like, oh, God, please forgive me for everything I did to scare those kids. Oh, gosh. Yeah, and Christmas is a very big time for my family and all because we do a lot of charity work and things like that. And, just remember, guys, what's in Christmas? Christ. And I do believe in Christ, and that's what Christmas is about. Now, again, you can celebrate your own holiday. I have no problem with that. But I always say Merry Christmas when it comes to that. And again, I have no problem with religion of any sort. It's just my choice on Christmas to celebrate it that way. Now, I have nothing against any other religion out there as long as you're not hurting anybody. Even the Christians had their own problems in the past, and there's still radical Christians out there. Don't push religion on people. Let them choose. They'll come out and do what they want. It's not a problem if you talk about it in a positive way, but don't push it, and don't just overdo it. That's all I'm going to say because we've seen it out there. Anyway, anything else, Jerry? It's we've been on for 45 minutes. Long time.
Wow.
I know. It goes quick when I have a guest.
When you're having fun, yeah.
I know.
Exactly. Well, no, I guess the two big things, that we touched on are, the left stirring the pot by calling everything racist and, making everything into a race issue that's not a race issue. And the other thing was the vaccine and should you be forced to do it. And I'll just leave you with two thoughts I have and hear what your comments are. But I flew into Boston the other day for work, and I was driving down the road, and I was going to check and see if the Red Sox were in town because after all these years of coming up here to the Northeast for work, I've never been to Fenway Stadium. And when it comes to sports, I love the iconic classical stadiums, and Fenway is one of them. So I figured, what? I'm driving down the highway, and I looked over, and there was the stadium. And it made me think, gosh, I got to look at the schedule and see if they're in town this week.
Yeah.
And then I saw the wall of the stadium, the outside wall of the stadium, about 20 feet high and about 60 feet long, is painted with Black Lives Matter. And not graffiti. It was done professionally by the team. It's on the outside of the stadium. And I said, what a racist thing to put on the outside of the stadium. And in addition to that, that group, Black Lives Matter, is basically a terrorist organization. So I was just like, they will never get a dime of my money for a ticket, for a beer, for popcorn, for peanuts, for parking, for anything, as long as they're going to promote a terrorist organization. And then on the vaccine side of things, I was in my hotel this afternoon and decided to go look for lunch and was walking around. And I'm in a downtown area of a small town in Connecticut.
Yeah.
And walked out right there in the town square. They've got the whole vaccine tents up and, coolers out and everything like that. And I'm like, but here's the funny thing. There was nobody getting vaccinated. It was like, so they had all that stuff out there and, they had all the big setup and everything like that.
Yeah.
And nobody was getting vaccinated.
Yeah.
Including me.
Yeah, it's your choice. I get it. And that's your choice.
Exactly.
It's anybody's
and
choice.
I may get it at some point when I feel comfortable with it. But at this point, I'm waiting to see how it works out. And, I'm not anti-vaccine. I'm not, like you said, I'm not telling people not to do it. I'm just, but at this point, I just want to, wait to see how it works out. And I spent 11 years in the Marine Corps, Brian, and as you know, we're the guinea pigs and the test animals for just about everything that the FDA is looking to approve. So I've done my time there. So I'm going to let other people be that guinea pig for a while.
Yeah. By the way, Jerry is not against vaccines or anything. Although when he went in the Marine Corps, he goes into boot camp and he's walking through and they say, hold on, sir. Bang, 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 bang. All these needles going into each arm. That's what my father told me happened to him. And you have no choice at that point because you've signed paperwork saying you can do this. That's the difference when you sign paperwork.
Brian, it's literally like a gauntlet. They have, they have like, I think it was either 3 or 4 stations, and like you step in front of the first 2 people, there's one on each side of you, and they hit each arm. And then when they hit each arm, then you step forward to the next station, they hit each arm again with a different one. Yeah. And then you hit the third one, they hit each arm, and then you walk forward and you got to pull the top of your pants down and they shoot one into your butt. And it's like, you get like, 5, 6, 7, things all within like maybe a minute.
And then you're barely walking and barely lift any coffee or any drink or anything.
Oh yeah, more than one guy wound up face planting on the floor. Trust me.
Oh gosh, yeah. My father told me all about it too, and oh gosh, it's crazy. I know. Oh, I remember when I was young, I was getting I forget what vaccine it was. It may have been for, I don't remember, but it was done by a gun, like some type of gun that went in my arm. I can't forget what it was
Yeah,
called.
it's like an air gun. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, and I was young. But that one I remember because it hurt bad. That was one that hurt
Well,
me.
and that's what they had when I went to boot camp. When your dad went, they didn't have those, but when I went, they had the air guns.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you the one thing about the air guns is, boy, I tell you, you better not flinch because the guys that flinch, the PSI on those things is really high, and it'll flinch your arm open.
Yeah, that's what happened because anybody sticks me with a needle anyway, I'm like, I don't like needles, but I'll do it if I have to. And so I have done it. I've done my vaccines and everything over the years and everything else. But
like you said, I'm not anti-vaccine.
No, me neither.
I'm just waiting to see how it all works out. I may get it at some point, but I just, at this point, I've decided not to yet.
Yeah, and guys out there, we are not saying this virus isn't out there. Nobody denies that. If they do, they're stupid. It's a virus. It's a new one. We know about it. It's a different strain of COVID. And there's going to be more strains of it. There's just more strains of the flu and variety of things. But again, they're doing it, using it for politics, and that's a problem. That's where I have a problem with it. I don't have a problem if you got a president out there saying, please just get the vaccine, but please do this. And don't go door to door and all that and threaten people. This is the United States of America. Again, and it's not going to change. Socialism will not take over this country. Communists will not be part of this country. Because I'm going to tell you, if they try, you're going to wake a sleeping lion, and it's not going to be good. It's not going to be good at all. You're going to lose. You'll never have a Democrat run in office again, because I'll tell you, we'll vote him out, and God knows what'll happen if it keeps on. I mean, people get crazy out there. See all this nuts stuff going on in cities right now, people getting shot and everything else. God, this is ridiculous. I never saw this when I was a kid. As a
matter of fact, that's funny you mentioned that. When we were kids, it's like if there was a shooting, it was national news, and Walter Cronkite was talking about it. And it's like, now it's so common that we don't even flinch. I mean, it's like we hear. I mean, could you imagine? I mean, think about this. Could you imagine if tomorrow near your house there was a bus crash, and that bus crash killed 7, 8, 9 people and injured another 50. All right.
Yeah.
And then there was another bus crash exactly 1 week later on the same stretch of road in the same intersection. And then the week after that, there was another bus crash that killed another 10 people and injured another 50. Because that's what's happening in just Chicago.
Oh, I know.
That's not even nationwide. Yeah. That's one city. And if you choose some of these bad cities, that's the equivalent. But if there was a bus crash, my goodness, be all over the news. Oh, was the driver drunk? Was the driver licensed? Was the bus safe? And everything like that. But we've got these big cities where, dozens of people per month are dying, and hundreds are being shot. And the only plan the Democrats are coming up with is how to take guns from the law-abiding citizens that are not committing the crime.
Correct. And even if you got the guns out of all the law-abiding citizens, more people are going to die because they're not going to be able to protect themselves, their homes, and these people are still going to get guns. It's not going to stop these criminals from getting guns. We've seen it. No. We're seeing it in all these cities.
And we've already talked about that. And again, I don't want to hijack your program again tonight on that.
No, that's fine. We can go on. I'll just go on and on with that, but that's another story, And I just, it's getting crazy because, I'm just seeing a lot of stuff out there that I've never seen before. It's funny. I was looking today. I'll tell you about this. It was out there on YouTube. I saw advertisements from the 1970s. And you know what? It was wholesome. It was clean. It was just really nice advertisements. There was no politics in there, nothing. I didn't see much of anything with political ads. And now a lot of ads are political, just like movies. That's where you were talking about earlier, by the way, Jerry, we were talking about some of this stuff. guys, I am tired of seeing stuff. I pay to go see a game. I don't pay to hear about politics. There's
Exactly.
no, I pay these people. This is what I do. When I go in or I watch TV, I'm paying these people. You guys are employed, guess what, to us, the American people. We pay you not to see politics. We pay you to play a game. That is what you're paid for. Now, the owners of these sports franchise, let this go on. They are not good owners. They call themselves patriots. They're not. They're not American. They're not following anything to do with being an American. This is absolutely crazy because right now, this needs to stop. If you want to have protests, do it peacefully. That's fine. Don't do it where I pay you to play sports. That is not what I want to see. Don't do this in Hollywood either. I don't want to see this on the big screen. I go into a movie theater. I watch a movie. Look, there are certain actors now I won't even watch. And they were good actors. I actually used to love their movies. And I will not watch their movies. Just like there's sports players out there, I don't watch. Look, I'm a big fan of football. I love pro football, but I watched one game last year. And you know what? I'm a big Buccaneers fan because I come from Tampa, Florida, and I was real happy with the Super Bowl. But that was the only thing I watched. That's it.
Yep.
Because of what it was. But you know what? I didn't watch one football game this year because of that, because I cannot support that going on. And I didn't watch hardly any sports. And I haven't watched for years now. And it kills me. Because guess what? I love watching. I love watching games. It tears me up. I love watching the advertisements.
Here's what's funny, though. Here's what's really funny about that. When, what's his name, Kaepernick started kneeling a few years ago.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, you know what? I'm not going to support this. So I stopped watching pro football at that point in time.
Right.
I just completed my 5th season. I can't believe it's been that long of not watching one game.
Yeah.
Not Super Bowl, not playoffs, not preseason, not anything, not one game. But the first year, that was tough, man. It was like I was having the DTs. I was like, I mean, you know, Sunday would roll around, and I was like, okay, something's not right. I'm not planted in front of the TV. And it's like the second year, I missed it a little bit. Now, I'm like, I have no idea who's coaching what team. I don't know who's playing quarterback for what team. I don't know what players are on what team. I could care less now. If I were to go back to football, I need to learn the new rules that are out there. So what they did was they took somebody who was a rabid football fan. And by the way, you mentioned the Buccaneers. I was actually at their first ever game. I lived in St. Petersburg and was at the first game that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers ever played. So I was a big
there.
fan too.
I was there. I was there.
No kidding. We were at the same game and didn't even know it.
Yes. Hey, are you that kid I punched? No, I'm kidding.
I could be.
You were rooting for who were you rooting for? Hold on. Who were you rooting for?
Of course, Tampa Bay.
All right, then it wasn't you. No, I'm just kidding. I didn't punch anybody. No, I didn't punch anybody, guys. Don't even go there. I didn't punch it. They're going to say, oh, he's violent. I'm not. You what?
I went to high school with some of the kids of the Dolphins when I lived in Miami.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, so, you know, of course, you know, I was then a Dolphins fan too, plus Dolphins were around before the Buccaneers, but, you know, I was a huge NFL fan.
Yeah.
And so if they've taken somebody that was a 40-plus year rabid fan and completely turned them off, it's like they don't realize what they're doing to themselves. And so, you know, this whole thing where, you know, you want to go ahead and allow your athletes to go ahead and dictate what your league is going to represent. You know, most of your viewers, that's not what they're wanting. You know, and you know what? And if a cop's bad, I'm with you, man. It's like, you know, a bad cop should not be tolerated.
Yeah.
If somebody's racist, that shouldn't be tolerated.
Not at all.
But, you know, to go out there when you're on the field, when people are paying you to be there on the field playing the game, that's what you do. You want to go out after the game and make your statement outside the stadium, that's fine. But, you know, leave, you know, when you enter the field, leave your politics, you know, leave everything else, you know, leave that in the locker room.
Right. I do the same with my company. I can't bring politics or anything else, and I wouldn't dare. And it's a job, and that's exactly what it is. It's a job. You're there to do your job. So.
Exactly.
Well, anyway, anything else, Jerry? Because we're going to have to end this. We are going on an hour right now. So
not a problem. I appreciate you having me on again, Brian. And, it's always very interesting. And what's really neat is I know we start off with an idea and say, hey, let's talk about this, let's talk about this. And then we wind up morphing into, different topics. But I think that's what's kind of fun sometimes. It shows how things are interconnected.
Yeah, and they are.
Is that a word, interconnected? I think it is.
Yes, that's a word.
Yeah.
Don't worry, the left will check it out. The left will check it out.
Fact check,
yeah, from the wrong sources, but that's fine. Or they'll ask each other and get confused.
See, that's what I tell people nowadays. I tell them that if you want to, impress on your kids the importance of staying in school and getting educated. Well, if they don't stay in school and get educated, they might wind up a fact checker for Facebook.
That's true. I'm not saying words out there. I can't say it. I'm not saying it. They'll cut me off again, a certain individual.
Yeah.
By the way, he was out there, a certain individual was out there going on this weird little ski thing on 4th of July, holding the American flag and playing John Denver's song behind him. I'm telling you what, I already messaged him and saying, you're not a good American. Let's just say that. I didn't say anything bad. I said, you're not a good American. And I said to him, because you don't believe in freedom of speech with respect. I always say that with freedom of speech. It comes with respect and morals. You can't go out there and start cussing at everybody either. Even though I know a lot of people want to calm the violence down, people. I know we're all angry, but stop. Even though I'm guilty of it sometimes, even though I don't cuss, I got away from that. It took a while. It's a lot of work. But that's just me. All right, guys, as always, I'm going to say this, and I'll talk to Jerry in a few minutes, but I'm going to go ahead and say it. What do I always say? Thanks for our law enforcement out there. You guys keep a good, hard work up. We know you're working hard for us. By the way, I was driving through my town today, and I'm telling you, I think they know my vehicle. They're all waving at me. I wave at them. I know most of them now. Definitely, like I said, we talked about on one show, I definitely buy them a lot of food out there, so they know that too. But that's not the purpose. They're out there just friendly. They're very friendly people. They're out there to work for you, and they're doing a lot of things, and they're not getting paid a lot. That's the real problem. They don't get paid much at all. But again, as always, thank you for our law enforcement. Thank you for our military. Thank you for our first responders. And again, truck drivers, really love what you guys are doing. I've talked to another truck driver the other day. Definitely keep up the good work. And all the people who are out there working hard.
Farmers.
Yes, and farmers as well. I was going there. Thank you, Jerry. I was heading there next. Who supply the food that the prices are going up because it's not their fault. We know that. Thank you, farmers. And I was at a restaurant tonight, and I was thanking the employees in there for the hard work they're doing because they're working overtime. 3 employees in a restaurant should have maybe like about 15 that night or tonight. It was absolutely crazy. And it's not their fault.
That restaurant you went to that had 3 should have had 15?
They really did. They had 3 employees in there.
Wow.
I actually talked with the manager, 4 including the manager. But
when you said there was 3 people, I was thinking it was a place that was supposed to have like maybe 6 or 7.
No. They were supposed to have close to 15. It was a very busy night there too, which surprised me being tonight. But I mean, the place was packed, and there was not maybe 2 seats were 2 booths I saw that didn't have anybody in there. But again, I'm just saying. All right, guys. Well, we're going to head out of here, and I will go ahead and let you know. Go to my website, www.just-commonsense.com. Again, www.just-commonsense.com. Scroll to the bottom. Go to my email. Tell me what you think. Yes, I'm sure I'm going to get attacked. Some bad language out there at me. Yeah, guess what? Love you guys anyway. If you say that, that's fine because I don't care. But definitely give me your thoughts. Tell me what you think. Tell me what show you want me to come up with. Give me some shows to come up with. Give me some ideas. And then go to my YouTube. Please subscribe. Please share. And then listen to my podcast. Like I said, I'm on Apple. I'm on Spotify. I'm everywhere out there. I'm on Google. So, guys, have a great night. I'll talk to you soon. And as always, take care. And God bless you. And God bless America. Have a great night. Take care.